We're here in the first hole of playing lessons at Tranquillo Golf Club. I'm with my friend Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson, here in front of us we have a 440-yard par 4. You've chosen driver.
Yep.
Tell us how you go about kind of assessing where you want to hit it and why.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that come about when you have a hole like this. You got water on the left, you got bunkers obviously on the right, even a bunker just over the water. So you have to assess what's going to be the optimal play to give yourself the best chance to get it on the green, obviously, and get it close to the hole and knock it in. And for me, it's a driver here because I know I can clear that bunker that's in front of us. Wind's kind of off the right. I'm going to try and play that to my advantage, especially with it being a dogleg left. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do is fit the whole shot shape and give it a go.
All right, well, let's see it.
Let's do it. It's going to be just right over that bunker, a little bit of a draw.
Beautiful, bud.
Just like that. Nice little draw shot shape there. Boom.
Excellent.
Thanks.
You know, we know that you're intuitive, but you're also intellectual in how you approach the game. When did it start as far as the kind of vision you had for one-length golf clubs?
Yeah, I mean, I was always kind of a math geek. I loved math, loved science. But then Mike Shy, my coach, gave me a book at 15, and it's called The Golfing Machine, and Homer Kelly. And it's obviously been a heavily criticized book, but I read it and gave it a shot and thought it was very, very interesting. Ultimately, from that book was this golf swing that was one plane. It was called the zero shifting motion, so I tried it. And unfortunately, with different length clubs, it was kind of difficult. I had to be in different body posture every single time. And so what I realized was like, well, why not try and make them all the same length so that I don't have to change body position at all? And so back in 2011, we went and built a set and went out and tested it. First hole hit like an 8-iron. Never forget, I hit this 8-iron. And I'm like, okay, that's good. It didn't go 180 yards, 175 yards. It went 160 yards, which is cool. So the big kicker, if you want to say, was the 5-iron that hit on the next hole, and had this 200-yard shot in, and I had this 7-iron length 5-iron. I'm going, what the heck am I doing, right? And ultimately, I hit that shot and flew 200 yards.
And that was it. And that was the start. So that was the start. That kind of matched what you did.
Right, exactly.
Cool, dude. We now have 180 yards to the flag. So obviously, we want to, you want to hit it to 3 feet, right?
Yeah,
but if you're playing on the PGA Tour, from this distance, with your understanding of proximity, what would be acceptable? When do you go pat on the back, good shot?
Always under 30 feet. I mean, from this distance, 30 feet is tour average, I would say. And if I'm getting it inside of that, it's a job well done.
Good strike. This looks real good here. Right there.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Pretty good. Looks like it's about 10 to 15 feet or something like that. It's a great shot. There we go.
Jugs.
Just like that.
That's fantastic. So, people can hear you saying percentage and this and this and that. When does it switch from
the science?
When does it switch from Einstein to Picasso?
Right. Yeah. I think there's a bit of both in it. As I get over it, right about here, I'm still doing a little bit of science, going, okay, I know that's an 11-foot putt. I know that's an 11-foot putt. So I get that preparation of the mechanics to produce the proper feel. Right, these mechanics are producing this proper feel for me. Okay, I've got that great sense of what it should be like. Then I get up over it, and right about there, once I start looking down the line, I'm drawing a picture of how it's going in the hole.
Excellent.
And then literally just sense it going in. That's it. I really want to feel stability in my golf swing. That was roasted. It's a 110-yard shot. I'm going to have a mid-flight trajectory, so I'm kind of looking at levels.
Okay, here on our second hole of playing lessons, Bryson, we've got roughly 330 yards to the flag. We have the option of hitting an iron over here to the left or hitting driver at the green.
Right.
When it comes down to risk and reward, how do you look at this is worth it and it's not worth it?
For most instances, I like to go for it. I'm kind of a risky sort of person in general. So normally I would go for it anyway, and I'd try and get the tough shot up and down.
Okay.
But with Cobra Connect technology here, we actually have the ability to say, all right, how far is it to the front edge of the green, 303, pretty doable for me. And then I've got 240 over the bunker, and that's gonna leave me like about 82, 81 yards in. If I was to clear the bunker, it may go a little farther. So like a 70-yard shot would be great. So I'd have to hit it 255. I could also lay back short of it, 214, which will leave me a 115-yard shot in, which is not bad at all either. But for now, I'm gonna go for that front edge of the green, 300 yards, and try and get it up there by the green.
All right, let's see it. Oh, this is exactly as you asked for.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Just maybe just a fraction short because of that wind into us, but other than that, it should be good.
Okay, now for the non-risk play.
Foreign. Yep. And this is something where I try and keep the ball a little lower.
Okay.
Because I want to get it in the fairway. That is the ultimate goal. And I feel like I can control the shot a little bit better if I hit it just a little lower. If I hit it up in the air, it's still subject to how you, are drawing it or cutting it or whatever happened. But if you keep it on the ground, most of the time it'll stay in the fairway. Perfect. We've got the 110-yard shot. I'm going to have a mid-flight trajectory, so I'm kind of looking at levels of height, right? And I'm picking, there's this first gap, and then I got the second gap, which is up there, and they're all about kind of somewhat equal, and the third gap and fourth gap. I have like 4 gaps that I go through.
Okay.
So 113 yards for me is going to be just past a 10 o'clock shot, and 10 o'clock shot's going to be up to my shoulder height.
Okay.
And so it's going to be just a little past that, and I kind of give a good little sense to it. A couple practice swings. It's good. And I'm just going to go straight at it with that proper trajectory. Pretty good.
In 2011, when you go to, and you have this vision to try to make all your clubs the same length, what did you have to do as far as interpretation or maybe relearning how you were going to chip and pitch? Because obviously
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah, so the wedge length is a little bit different, obviously, and a normal wedge length is going to be about here, and then most guys on tour will kind of choke down even more to get closer to the ground and more comfortable. But I'm obviously on the shaft and I can't do that. So the biggest reason for them going shorter is so that they can have a little bit better, easier ability to have shaft lean. And that shaft lean is really what's going to help, for me at least, control that bounce. Being able to hit it into the ground, right? I can hit it into the ground and bounce it. But with a longer shaft, I can't get that shaft lean, so the ball is going to come up in the air really quickly.
Yeah.
And so it was very difficult for me to control, the shaft lean. And so I've kind of figured it out where I've put it more in the back of my stance, open the face, and I've kind of cheated the system by not necessarily having shaft lean, but by pushing it down and then opening it.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how I had to relearn how to hit these longer little wedge shots or longer clubbed wedge shots.
Well, let's see it. What do you face here? How many paces?
28 yards is where I want to land. It's 32 to the flag.
Okay.
There's a little slope before it. Try and loft it up there, bounce, and then let it run hopefully about 10 feet.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get it inside of our iron shot. Yeah, nice touch. Nice touch. Okay, so this putt now is from our driver play off the tee.
Right.
So I'm looking for you to convert this at about 100%.
Pretty close.
Nice putt.
Easy. So that's why sometimes I do like going for the risk, because I feel like my wedge game has improved over the past 2-3 years even. And I can get it up and down from pretty much anywhere, I feel like. Normally I would play a 6-iron.
So you're gonna go with 5?
Go with the 5-iron and hit it a little bit higher.
Ooh, that is high.
Yeah. So with the Cobra Connect, we have a great display of all the facets of my game: the driving approach, chipping, sand, putting, and it tells me that my strokes gained with driving is 6.6 plus. The approach is plus 3.6, chipping 0.2, which isn't great. My sand game minus 2.7, so losing a little bit there, got to work on that. And my putting is plus 2.6. So this system will give you a great display of what you need to work on and how you need to improve your game. So I got to work on chipping and some shots in my sand game right now.
For more info on Cobra King F8 irons and tips from Bryson, visit rgcobra.com.
You're obviously a big guy. You work out, you're a strong guy, you create speed. But that being said, with all those things being kind of assets you have, how have you learned to get it 10 or even 15 or 20 further with all those things being the same?
Yeah, I mean, launch angle is a huge key to gaining distance. The more I can hit up on it with less spin, the farther it's going to go. And there's obviously a certain point where the spin is necessary for it to stay in flight. But same point in time, if I can just move it up a little bit in my stance and try and feel like I'm almost moving my body, my lower body to the left, and then almost pulling back with this left shoulder to raise the angle of attack, that's going to allow me to have that higher launch angle, you know. And then you know, the new F8 driver is obviously an incredible driver, new CNC milled face, and it's that helps control the thickness across the whole face for me. You can see the grooves in it as well. You can actually see where the balls have been hit too. Pretty good, right in the middle. I'd say that's how it goes far too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You got hit in the middle of the face. But,
transfer of energy.
But yeah, this driver's been incredible, and there's more speed across the face because it is CNC milled, which is fantastic for hitting it far as well. That was roasted. For me, this is a unique situation, and I think a lot of amateurs can learn from this situation. I've got to hit it over water. Now, most people would lay up. Most amateurs would lay up, which is a smart play, and I would encourage every amateur to do that, unless you've got you're a great player, scratch, and you have the opportunity to go for it. You're confident enough to hit out of this position onto the green. And for me, I'm going to go for the green. I know I can get this onto the green. It's 190. Normally, I would play a 6-iron.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do that because the sand is not really going to allow the ball to come off with the same speed. It's going to really kind of kill it if I don't catch it perfect. And the water's short, so I don't want to be short, so I want to miss a little long, if anything.
And I think the point that I like that you make there is if you don't catch it perfect.
Right.
How often do you catch it perfect?
I mean, out of bunkers, it's not very often. I mean, maybe 3 out of 10 times, like absolutely flush.
Yes.
So we always want to kind of take account for those miss hits, especially when you got water short. If there's no water short, I'm probably going to hit 6-iron and try and run it up there.
Okay. So you're going to go with 5?
Go with the 5-iron and hit it a little bit higher, maybe blade it a little bit so I can get some more spin on it.
Ooh,
pretty good.
That is high.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome, actually. Go a touch.
Yeah, it's on the green. We're good. And you can see my body kind of move too in these putts, just kind of getting a good sense, especially in these long putts, for how much energy I need to get it to that hole.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
Gosh, just a little slow.
Yeah, that's a good putt.
Not bad though,
yeah,
from 50 feet.
You hear people talk about staying still when you putt, but I mean, you had to put some velocity into that putter head.
Absolutely.
So if you locked everything down,
right,
will that give you the ability to get the speed necessary?
And not always. I mean, that's where I kind of have to move my body just sometimes a little bit. The proper acceleration profile for my stroke. Like if I go here and then I'm going to the end ranges of my trunk rotation and side bend and all that and flexion. So it's very difficult for me to be consistent.
Yes.
If I'm at these end ranges. But if I kind of flow It allows me to be a little more consistent. Now, where I lock it down is my hands. I lock everything in my hands,
absolutely.
which is fine, but then just kind of use the body to flow through, like you're painting, like a big paintbrush.
The easy accelerators.
Right.
The hands will go quick.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Bryson, we're here at our final hole in playing lessons. Why don't you give us a better understanding of what it is you try to maintain and why?
Right. I've had to develop a golf swing that has made me comfortable and confident on the golf course for my own issues that I have neurologically. And so what that is stability. I really want to feel stability in my golf swing throughout the whole time I'm swinging this club and moving this mass where the CG is like right there, you know? And so I'm trying to control that mass and feel like my body is just rotating through impact. I don't want to feel like I'm doing that through impact. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm doing that through impact. I want to feel like I'm doing this through impact. That's a massive...
So the club face is the CEO.
Yes.
So we want that club face having to do as little as possible.
Absolutely. And I don't want it to be doing much at all. I want to have that rotation rate of the head to be as little as possible. And you can see it's almost like a little pitch.
Sure.
You know, it's not necessarily this massive rotation, right? As you can see, it's more of just a smooth and stable hand motion. If you watch my hands and arms, I'm trying to get it back down to here and then just rotate through. And then the right arm just drives down the plane. And that's literally it. And so the more and more that I do that, the more and more stable I feel that club head is, and the easier I can reproduce the shots at hand.
Okay.
So here's a 200-yard shot. I got a 4-iron. It's into the wind. That's the reason why I'm hitting a 4-iron. Normally this 4-iron goes about 215. I'm going to try and flight it up in the air.
Okay.
And let it land softly at about 200, because that wind's going to hurt it about 10 yards. Hitting it up in the air is going to make it play like 210 for me.
All right. Pretty shot here, bud. This is really good.
Yeah, just a good solid shot there.
So obviously, Bryson, the one length approach you have is still, regardless of the shaft being the same length, you're obviously very confident in the technology of that club head.
Absolutely.
So can you tell our viewers a little bit more about, their options?
Yeah, well, the F8 1 and then the F8 Progressive headset, those are two different headsets of the same technology, just for the different uses of the club, obviously being one of them being one length and the other being progressive. They have the same technology in them, and they're both great golf clubs no matter what. If you go get fit for them, the one length is a great option to try it out. If it works for you, fantastic. If it doesn't, there's a variable length set as well, a progressive set, that'll work just as well. And either option you come out with is fantastic. Me being one length, I'm biased, right? And so you got to give the one length a try. I think it's worth every amateur's dollar, and I think in time. And I think you'll become a better player if you do try it and use it and get a better experience about the club and the club that Cobra's built. It's a unique golf club that is, I think, surpassed a lot of the other clubs out there, and it's the reason why I'm playing it. 15 feet, it's not perfectly downhill. If it's perfectly downhill, it's a little easier.
Okay.
But, I start off the 3 o'clock position where it's perfectly level to the hole.
So that's your straight putt?
I'm not up, no.
This is level.
This is level.
Okay.
In regards to height.
Okay.
If I'm down over here, I'm below the hole, right? And so I kind of use a bit of a clock system to know, okay, that's the straight putt up over there, 12 o'clock, here's 9 o'clock. And so now I have a pretty good gauge in my system of how hard to hit it.
Okay.
15 feet right there, it's gonna play 8 feet, about halfway, because it's a 4% slope. And it depends on the slope, right? If it's more slope, I've gotta change that as well.
Okay.
But it's about a 4%, boom. Practice that 7 or 8 foot putt.
Okay. That was a solid putt on the high side. Bryson, I can't thank you enough for joining me on Playing Lessons. I'd like to thank Tranquilo Golf Club, as well as the takeaway for our viewers from Bryson DeChambeau. This is a very interesting young man. He's thought a lot about his craft, and the major point to take away is not to judge something you don't understand. So yeah, he sounds a little bit different. How he looks at the game's a little bit more mathematical, but I believe that all those different things that he looks at, from one length to one plane to the math behind how putts break and all that, will really give amateurs a better chance of being more competent and enjoying the game more. Thank you for joining us.